Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is ZillaFan85 back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my 1954 Godzilla Gashapon figure. So of course this will be kind of significant because this is the last Gashapon figure that I have in my collection that I have not yet previously reviewed. So that's sort of Gashapon figure gauntlet that I've gone through. We are actually finishing it up today, and for the most part from here on out I'll be mainly just concentrating on my standard size figures and whatnot. And I think I'm gonna try and mix it up with those videos. Like I'll do some of my Bandai vinyls. I still have more YMSF figures. Definitely looking forward to those. And of course I have more Revoltech figures and NECA figures, and then of course the big boys in my collection, the SH Monster Arts figures. So I do plan to get through all of those for my Godzilla and Kaiju collection. And I've even toyed about reviewing some of my non-Godzilla figures, like some of my SH Figuarts stuff from the Dragon Ball line and whatnot. I'm not sure if I will, but if you guys want to see me do those, and maybe some of my Dragon Stars figures as well, let me know, certainly in the comments below. But here today, like I said, we're going to go ahead and finish up my the last piece of my Gashapon collection that I haven't reviewed, and I wanted to save, obviously, the 1954 Godzilla for last in this gauntlet, if you will, of Gashapons. So obviously the 54 Godzilla, the original Godzilla, the OG. So, what more can I say? This is what started it all for me. And funny enough, just kind of going into it, the original Godzilla, or at least the English dub of it, Godzilla King of the Monsters, was in fact the first Godzilla movie that I did ever see. I saw it on TNT's Monster Vision way back when in 1994, as part of their Godzilla Bash 94. So if any of you are old enough to remember that, certainly good on you there. So I don't want to ramble too much here because I would like to jump into it though. But just obviously certainly a lot of significance, of course, again with the OG Godzilla here. So as far as Gashapon figures go, not too bad. Let's go ahead and jump into it though with the paint and detail. So again, you can see, of course, the main coloration on Godzilla's body, that sort of charcoalish color that he's got, which again is very signature. Of course, the original Godzilla film was in black and white, but this is pretty much always the way that he's been depicted. And I think it looks pretty good. The paint's done pretty well here. And along with that, you can see again all the scales, and they tried to capture the sort of bumpy look that he had on his body here, and it's almost sort of lumpy looking a little bit, which is, to a degree suit accurate actually, the way that they captured it here. Got very thick legs there, which are very signature of the original Godzilla's design, the way that they're shaped and whatnot, with a little bit of musculature in them, as you can see there. A nice big feet that he's got here, and of course the toe claws done in this sort of creamish bone color, if you will, and they're pretty sharp to the touch, so you guys can see that they look pretty good. The arms, of course, a lot smaller and skinnier here, but done pretty well. Again, I would say fairly movie accurate, and again you've got that same cream bone color for the finger claws there, and they have a little bit of sharpness to them as well. So you guys can take a good look at it. There's a little bit of a paint blemish on mine right here, as you guys can see. So I don't know if that's on all of these ones or just on mine, but not too bad though. It's not really too big of a deal unless you're looking under it, or looking at it through a very close-up scope here. So then moving on to the face though, they captured that look pretty well. Again, you can see the rivets on the top of his head, the scaly, wrinkly look on his face there with that signature 54 Godzilla look, which is actually, for this Gashapon, it's captured pretty well. Maybe not as good as the standard size figures, but still looks pretty good. The eyes with that sort of facing different directions, and that's actually pretty accurate to the film. So you can see with the white eyes and black pupils there. Trying to make sure that the camera stays in focus here, but you guys can see that. That's pretty signature of the 54 Godzilla. And then again, the teeth are a little more of like an off-white bone color that are done for the teeth here. And there's a little bit of like a deep red paint inside the mouth. Let me see here if we can try to capture that. It's kind of hard to see, but if you see it, you know, in person, you can see it a little bit better. But it's like a very deep red that they did for the inside of the mouth and the tongue. So at least got a little bit of detailing in there. And of course, you got the signature dorsal spines for Godzilla. These are done in like a sort of silverish color. So I'm not sure the color scheme on these, if that's really truly accurate. Probably should have been more gray than silver looking, but still kind of cool. Makes it pop a little bit here, and you do have some detailing on the spines as well. Of course, with that, the shape of them, these sort of very misshapen spines, which are pretty indicative of the original Godzilla's look. So look at the other side, and of course you can see that sort of scaly patterning on the center portion of the spines. Now they should have done more of that sort of charcoalish color on the center portion of them instead of just basically being all silver through and through, but it's not too bad. So I mean, you know, definitely at least gets the job done if nothing else. And see, they're more charcoalish color though at the back of his neck, and then of course as it tapers off into the tail, into the smaller spines in the tail, again just more to sort of the charcoalish color there with no variation in paint. So a bit, you know, a bit on the simple side there, but again it's not too bad. So I still appreciate it, and I appreciate the way that they captured his look here. Again, you can see he's pretty scaly looking and this and that, so it's pretty cool. And, you know, definitely, you know, if you're going to have a Gashapon collection and you're a Godzilla fan, I mean, you gotta, if nothing else, you gotta have the OG, the 54 Godzilla. I mean, that's just in my opinion anyway. So, but I like it though overall. So that pretty much captures the paint and detail. Well, other than maybe just looking at the tail a little bit more, because again, you can see the scales on the tail here, and on the underside of it, you got the Bandai logoing. I'm just trying to make sure the camera focuses. So the B, the Bandai China, the logoing there. Pretty good, but you still got some of the scales done on the tail as well, of course. So, okay, so it looks pretty good, like I said. So, anyway, now I think I'm good for the paint and detail. For the articulation, again, it's a Gashapon, but I always try to mention it. You do have these come in these capsules, and they're usually apart in pieces, and you assemble them together. So you're not really going to get much range of movement, but I mean, if you want to try to fudge it a little bit, maybe you can move the feet around, but as you do see, it has a tendency to pop out of place, so I would kind of be mindful of that. The other one, it's more stiff, so I mean, really not going to get much here. A little bit of movement in this arm, but again, it's got a tendency to want to pop out of place. And this one, you can kind of get away with moving the arm all the way around if you want. So, but, you know, these aren't really meant for articulation. I just always try to point that out. So pretty much, though, you get them in this pose and then kind of display them like that. But, you know, still pretty cool nonetheless. And then, of course, sizing-wise, again, it's a Gashapon, a mini figure. This one's probably in about the 2.5 to 3 inch range, I would say. So, which is pretty standard for the Gashapons. They're usually in the 2 to 3 inch range. So, and that one I would say is maybe 3 inches. 2.5 to 3 inches, I should say. But anyways, still pretty cool nonetheless. And then as far as pricing goes, you know, this is one you can find on eBay. It should be somewhat readily available. I would say from any time that I've seen it, it's sort of in that I would say it's sort of in that $20 price range, at least any time that I've seen it. I wouldn't really look to pay too much more for this because it really shouldn't run you much more than 20 bucks, and if you're lucky you could probably get it for under $20. So which again, that's pretty standard for the Gashapon figures. They're usually anywhere in the range of about $10 to $25 is sort of that standard price range. There are some more rare ones that will be a little bit costlier just because they're rare, obviously. But otherwise, though, yeah, they're not going to break the bank. And if you just want to add, like I said, if you're going to have a Gashapon collection, I would definitely recommend getting the original 1954 Godzilla as part of it. You know, and of course, if you want to avoid maybe paying a little bit more for the standard size figures, you know, you can't go wrong here. So definitely recommend it as far as that goes. And for the most part, that does cover it. Now, I've already reviewed my NECA 1954 Godzilla. So in the future, though, I will be reviewing my Monster Arts 1954 Godzilla, which personally, I know for some people it's hit and miss. Personally, I love that figure, so I'm really looking forward to reviewing it. I'll try to get to that one in the not too distant future, I should say. You know, and then we'll see how we go from there with my videos. Like I said, I'm mostly going to just stick with my figure reviews, but I might mix it up a little bit here and there. I've noticed lately, for one reason or another, my videos have been getting a lot more views, at least for what I'm used to. I'm not really sure what to think about that, but for anybody who is watching along and still watching this video, just guys, please keep in mind, I am not a professional reviewer. I'm not contracted by any of the toy companies or anything like that. You know, this is just a hobby that I'm doing for fun. I'm just, you know, a fan, obviously. I like to connect with fellow fans and maybe just give my own personal, you know, my own personal spiel, my own personal input on the figures that I have in my collection. So so just try to keep that in mind, like I said. But otherwise, though, I do appreciate it. And if other than that, I think that should pretty much cover it for this video. So I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. And just remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.